Hey everybody. We'll give everybody a few minutes to join. Hope everybody's doing good this weekend. Where's everybody coming from? Hey Justin, hey Madman, I'm in Colorado too, in northern Colorado, Fort Collins area. Colorado Adventure Club, welcome back, sir. That is a coincidence. Hey, Steven, welcome. Might be making a trip to Georgia pretty soon. Hey, Eduardo from South Florida. Welcome back to the stream. It's just a good reason to print a new one, right? I did not make it to Tour de Fat, Madman. North of Tallahassee, yeah, that's just right there, right? Been to Florida a couple of times. Ocala when I was a kid, and then I've been to Tampa a couple of times and Miami a couple of times. Yeah, if you want to print it out of ABS, let me know. I'll let you use one of those rolls of the mint or the orange if you want to try ABS on it. Yeah, we'll be talking about that, Eduardo. We'll definitely be talking about that. All right, let's go ahead and get started. And the first thing here, make sure you go to, if you haven't already, make sure that you go to the Bambu Lab website And right here on the storefront, you'll see this colorful 3D printing for everyone, September 20th, 9 a.m. Eastern time here in the US. So you can put your email address in there. Obviously, I'll be watching it. Maybe we'll do a live stream or something like that of it, or I'll at least give my reactions to it. Given the picture on the right there, so let's just go over a couple of things with the AMS and with Bambu Lab, right? They really have kind of brought multicolor printing to the masses to some degree. Although we've talked about this before, it's maybe not the most perfect system, but it definitely works, and it is to some degree plug and play. And I know that there's some people out there that have had some issues with these things, but I think for the most part it is somewhat. It shouldn't be still showing the starting soon screen. It should be showing a website screen. Is everybody else seeing a website? Oh, there you go. Yeah, so back to what I was saying. So they have brought, multicolor printing to the masses. It's not the easiest thing. Some people have had some issues with it. But for the most part, it has been somewhat plug and play, right? And I think that has been good, but I don't think it's the most perfect system. And if you look at the palette, and it does a pretty good, the palette does a pretty good job of splicing and then kind of, putting the filament in order, to do that type of stuff. So I don't know if it's a palette type of thing or anything like that, but my guess is going to be that it's going to be maybe a more efficient way to do color printing is going to be my guess. I don't have any insider information. I haven't seen anything or anything like that. Yeah, Justin saying needs to be more efficient, but love it so far. Exactly, it works. It is definitely, when it came out last year, it was the best that was out there, right? I think we looked at the 3D Chameleon, and Colorado Adventure Club and I got to see that in person, and that was another way of doing it. And the color changing seems to be a little bit more efficient on there. Maybe a little bit more tinkering than most of us would like to do. I think that's the whole point of the Bambu Lab. Like you guys have heard me a bunch of times, people have asked, what settings do you use? I don't touch the settings, right? That's why I bought this printer and everything. So, for the most part, and again, I understand that that's not applicable in every situation, but as far as I've been, my experience, most of it has been pretty user-friendly, plug and play, intuitive, prints cool stuff, all of that. So I would imagine that they're going to improve on that. And the only improvement that I could see is being more efficient on the color changes and different things like that. I believe it's a new bed. Steven says, I believe it's a new machine, bed slinger with 2209s and a quicker AMS color changer, but who knows? I would imagine maybe it's one machine or two machines. A lot of people have asked for a larger format printer from Bambu Labs. So maybe there'll be like the X2C or whatever, whatever the second version of the X1C, and maybe like a large format version of that. And then I agree, a quicker AMS color changer, or, a faster way to do that. That would be my guess as well as to what the new printer will be. Or even if it's a printer, maybe it's just a new AMS, right, that works with everything. That could be, like the palette or whatever. The palette, I don't think they have a printer, but they might have a printer. But that whole thing is it works with everything. The 3D Chameleon is it works with everything. So maybe it's just a AMS, right? We don't even know if it's a new printer. I hope it is. I hope it's, yeah, Justin, a 300 by 300 at least. I'd like a 400 by 400 to be honest. Yeah, it looks like that's the cutter or whatever. But see, look at how there's multiple filament lines going into one thing. So, you know, the AMS only has one line that goes to the head that cuts and does everything. So maybe there's something different that mixes it before it goes to the tool head or something like that. It would be kind of nice if it was a new AMS that worked on our old printers and on a new printer that they had. That would be pretty awesome. But yeah, larger format. I would love to see a larger format. Less waste and faster color change. Multicolor print takes very long. Yeah. Yeah, you really have to watch how you do multicolor print. Alright, yes, I wanted to talk about that. I didn't see anything new in the filament or anything like that. So let's check out what we'll be printing today. So another one of these rain things. I found this one on Printables too. The link's in the description. It has this cool little hand in there. And I've actually been printing it for a little while now, so it will finish on stream here. And I printed it out of that gradient again. And I have some pictures of the thing that I printed last week, and it turned out really, really good. That gradient is really, really cool. Hey, Robert, welcome from California. Yeah, maybe it's a new controller that attaches to the back. I forgot what it's called. It's the AMS hub is what that is called. Justin, I believe that's what you're talking about. If we go to accessories for the X1, this guy right here, is that what you're talking about, Justin? Maybe it's a new one of these, this hub where it can take in multiple things or whatever. But see, the AMS only has one line that comes out of it as well that goes to this hub. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is it's got to be some sort of mixer like that. The Bambu gradient is pretty awesome, I think, Justin. The only complaint that I have is it's too predictable, right? Like there's a certain amount of the light blue green and then a certain amount of the blue here, and I wish it was more random on there. I think it would just make better prints if that was a little bit more random. Yeah, I like the gradient so far. I want to get some more of it. I think it looks cool. Yeah, Justin, that would be nice if it was like a new controller or new AMS or something like that that works on a new printer and an old printer. Yeah, I haven't tried the Sunlu gradient. What I want to try from Sunlu is the glow in the dark. That one looks cool, and they have some recycled filament too that looks pretty cool. I'd like to try some of that. All right, and if you guys have any pictures of your prints that you've done this week or in the past that you want to show everybody here, go ahead and send them to my email address. I'll put that in the chat. Go ahead and send those in. And then Lucid says, how'd you make the gradient on the AMS feed on the app? I'm not sure. I know what you're asking. If you're asking how did I get it to make this color here, whenever I inserted it in the RFID did its thing, and it did that on its own. What's weird is it does the gradient here, but in the prepare it doesn't do the gradient, which is kind of weird. But here it shows the gradient. And then Madman asks, have you used the newer gold texture PEI player? Here it works better. That's what we're actually, oh, I need to turn the light on in there. Let me go turn the light on in there. But that's actually what I'm printing on tonight, Madman. And I did a review on it last week or the week before. One of my newer videos is a review of the gold plate. I think it's gold plating the my Bambu X1C or something like that. And it does work really, really good. Yes, Lucid, the RFID. And I do have a flipper device. If anybody wants to help me on a project of maybe getting on AliExpress or something and getting some blank RFIDs and using the flipper to program them or something like that, that would be nice. That way, because I think what you want to do, Lucid, is do other filaments this way, right? And make it that color right on the little thing. But it was with the RFID. But if we can figure out how they're doing it and backward engineer that, then we would be able to just pull in colors like that into, say other brands or whatever. Sorry about that, Robert. So Lucid said, how did I get the gradient color in the AMS, which was this part right here? I told him it was the RFID, and then I mentioned that I have a flipper device, and I'd like to program my own RFIDs so that we can do this for other filaments outside of Bambu. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, it can't be too complex, I bet. Maybe encrypted, Madman said. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested to see. Yeah, I should just mess around with the flipper and see what comes out of it. And see what it is. But I'm sure we can get on AliExpress or somewhere, some Chinese website, and get the little blank RFID things. They don't look like they're proprietary or anything. All right, so let's take a look at, so Lester says, sorry I'm late, just got a second AMS and I'm enjoying it. Would you recommend a Cobra Max for a beginner? I don't know what the Cobra Max is. Honestly, for a beginner, I wouldn't recommend anything other than Bambu, because I tried a different printer as a beginner and it was way too much tinkering. I almost gave up on 3D printing, and the Bambu actually brought me back into 3D printing. So for beginners, the P1P or probably the P1S at the very least is what I would recommend. And I'm not sponsored by Bambu or anything. Yeah, Colorado Adventure Club, same here. Yeah, I agree. All right, so there's a picture of my good boy Chief. He was the model for a video that I put out yesterday. And here's what I printed last week, although this is a larger model of it. I actually printed this one at 150% instead of the 100%. And this is what I mean. If you can see those stripes, see how they're like just perfect stripes? It would be better if it was a little bit more random in the gradient there. Right, see here, you can even see like a pattern in it, where in these strings you don't really see a pattern, and that's what makes it look kind of cool. But here It's just a bit too much of a pattern, which leads me to believe there's a certain amount and then they splice in the next one, and then there's a certain amount and they splice it in. I just wish it would be a little bit more random, or just different sizes. In Colorado Adventure Club, Chief says hello. But I thought that turned out really cool. That was a really cool one. And then this is the smaller one that I printed. In Colorado Adventure Club, Chief says hello to Sophia as well. Yeah, Justin says I only use the gold PEI plate, no adhesive, just sticks. Yeah, I agree. That thing is awesome. Let me go turn on the light so we can see that one. Wow, that's extra bright. All right, much better. And as you can see, we're using the gold plate with this one as well. And then yeah, these rain things, they look really, really cool. And the gradient filaments look pretty cool with these as well. And then Eduardo asks, have I seen any information on the beta of the new Bambu Handy? I have not. And then there's also a new product at Bambu Lab that is going to reduce the noise of the printer. I haven't heard of that. The only thing that I've heard of is whatever they're going to announce on the 20th, and we don't even know what that is, really. And Bob says, I'm new to Bambu and not skilled. I just did a torture toaster, and it came out great. Yeah, what kind of filament did you use on that, Bob? And then Madman, it doesn't do them vertical, which is what I thought at first too, Madman. So Madman said that's an impressive print. Didn't know they could do vertical strands like that. And it's not vertical. Let's go back to the print. It's actually printing them across. But what's crazy is it is printing it all the way across there, kind of in air, Madman. So it doesn't print it vertical like that, you know, like you would think it would just go every layer and put a little dot, go up a layer, It actually printed laying down. This was the side that was up. This edge right here was the side that was up. But yeah, all of these look crazy. There's a bunch of them on there. And the one thing that you need to do, pay attention, Madman, the one thing that you do need to set in the printer is the arcane walls. So under quality, wall generator, arcane, and I saved that and just made a preset so I don't have to go hunt this thing down every time. I can just click that preset and it does that. And then Bob Mitchell says the toaster in ABS. Awesome. And then Eduardo, you said they're coming out on the 20th of September with noise reduction. Yeah, I haven't heard anything. Only speculations and guesses at this point. Yeah, Madman. Oh, it's doing it sideways. Yeah, exactly. It does it sideways. See how it's printing that sideways there. Let me try to get a good angle. Yeah, right there. I think you can see that it's actually printing them all the way across, which is pretty cool. Yeah, still quite impressive. Yeah, it's crazy that it prints those all the way across, and it's like a double layer, right? It goes across and it comes back. It's pretty neat. Print one of these. There's several of these different models on here. I think Eduardo, Renee, and a couple of different viewers on here did some prints of these, so I wanted to do a couple of these, and I did one last week and I liked it so much I thought it'd be cool to do another one this week. Then Robert says I've been using voxel filament. I haven't heard of them, but that's awesome. It looks like Justin sent us some prints. Let me get those downloaded real quick. Oh wow, that's really cool. Thank you for sending us some pictures, Justin. Where did this model come from? Yeah, that looks really cool. Matt Meyer makes. All right, yeah, that's a cool looking one. That's pretty cool as well, and it's awesome. You can see your printer in the background there. And if you're enjoying the stream, make sure you hit that like button. I really appreciate anybody that does. Yeah, so several of the YouTubers, yeah, they're going to do all of their hype and everything like that. I work for a company that could swallow Bambu and not even notice. It'd be a rounding error. We do the same type of thing. But we keep the really good stuff close to chest. What is this printed out of? Is this the Bambu metal? PLA metal or whatever? Super shiny, or is it the silk? It looks cool for like a bust or whatever. It looks, you know, like some bronze or whatever. Looks really cool. Bronze PLA. This one here. Or is it normal PLA basic? Right there, that one. That one. There you go. Yeah, cool color. Thank you for sending that one in. I haven't tried this color yet, but that one looks it looks more metal than the PLA metal. That's pretty funny. But that's a cool color though. I mean, it's very shiny, and it does look like bronze. Really cool. You have the metal too, but a friend said it looked better. I think I have the bronze metal too. I don't think it's called bronze, but it does not look as good as that. Let's see, I have a couple of the metal ones. Where is it at? Yeah, I have this one and this one and this one. And it does not look as good as either one of those. For like a bronze statue or whatever, or like a bust like you made there, that does not look as good. Gold metallic. Yeah, I have that gold metallic and it does not look as good as that. And that's good to know. That's why I like people sending in their prints so we can all learn together what is cool and what isn't. And that's good to know that just normal, basic bronze turns out like that. It looks really good. Thank you for sending that in. You're gonna try the rub and buff wax at some point too? Yeah, see, I've been wondering about looking into doing some different finishing techniques on the prints, because I've seen all kinds of different things out there that you can do or you can try, and I have some ideas of some different things that you could do and try as well. But yeah, if you do the rub and buff wax, Justin, send us a picture, let us know what that looks like too. And if anybody's tried any finishing techniques or anything like that, I'd love to see some pictures or something like that. It's been something bouncing in the back of my mind as well. Let's check in on the print. We got 8 minutes left there. Still looking good. And then Robert asks, is there any way to push the filament name from Bambu Studio to the AMS? Yes. So whenever you do the calibration and you do the flow dynamics calibration, when you're finished with that calibration right there, Robert, it gives you an opportunity to name a filament basically, and you're setting a Z factor. So you're not necessarily doing a task to name that filament, but you are in a roundabout way naming that filament and setting it up with the Z factor. So whenever you load a generic, so now that I've done a couple of these calibrations and I've named them, in tomorrow's video I'll calibrate Sunlu filament and give you guys a heads up on that. And now whenever I load a Sunlu filament in there, I can click generic PLA, and then Sunlu shows up as an option under brand name on the front of the device itself on my X1C. I don't know how it does it on a P1P because I don't have that. But Robert, there I can select Sunlu, and I've done some eSun, and I've even calibrated some of the Bambu. And then I did that on the PEI plate as well because the temperatures are different on that. So I have those in there. So that is in a roundabout way naming it. But I think the question that you're asking is, can I name it something here and then push that name to the AMS? And I am not aware of a way to do that, Robert, other than the way that I just suggested there, and that is kind of a workaround. I think it would have the same result as what you're looking for, possibly. But yeah, I've wondered that as well. Why can't I just name something here? And then when I hit the sync button, right, and I is this also what you're asking as well, Robert, right? When I hit the sync button here, it should sync what I've done here with there, or vice versa, right? Let me sync what's in the printer, and then let me put what I've done here and send it back to the printer. Yeah, it always says 000. Not sure if I can change that. Mine does too. Let's look at that. We can look at that right now. So mine is showing some values. I printed, these are Sunlu right here. So it showed what I've printed with the Sunlu. But as you can see with the Bambu, it's not showing anything. And I believe that's one of the settings under this little gear right here, Justin. So let's see, insertion, update, read film information, update remaining capacity. This is for Bambu filament. And see, that's interesting that it's showing some values of how much has been used over here, but it hasn't shown anything on this filament there. But this is where I think if you click on this, it gives you like a picture kind of guide of how much filament is left in there. But again, that's not exactly what you were asking. But yeah, it should just start at 1 kilo or whatever as standard, right? And then you could change it from there and then push it down. And then Robert, voxel filament is $16.99 if you order 3 or more rolls. I've printed several hundred rolls. I actually, working with Sunlu, if you click on the link that I see tomorrow, that I have tomorrow, they have a bundle of 10 rolls for $100, which is $10 a roll, which I thought was pretty good. But that's good to know that voxel, and where do you get voxel? Is it just their website, or is it like Amazon or something? Where do you get it from, Robert? And then here is a print that Robert sent in. I've been wondering about these cable rolls and if they were any good. I've almost printed these a couple of times for the live stream. Looks really cool. Madman Production, have the RFID tracked links been pretty accurate in your experience? I hear they track how much length should be left via the RFID code. Yeah, I'm not sure that the RFID sends updates as it's going. I think it just tracks how much has gone through there. And then Justin, it would be nice to be able to input 1 kilogram and it keeps track of your prints and lets you know, hey, you use 550. Yeah, it's same. I agree with you. Like right here, I wish it could just show 1 and then just estimate how much you've gone down, even if it's not down to the nitty gritty. And I know people will complain in the comments, it's not down to the 0.000001 and I can't micro focus on it. But if it got me 90% of the way there, that would be pretty cool. But I do know why they probably don't do that is because way too many people want to micro focus on every 0.00001 of a thing, and that's what's going to make the earth stop spinning in the direction that it's spinning if we don't have this 0.0001 of something in there. So I understand why they don't put that in there, but it would be nice to do that. And then Justin, I did some similar to those cable rollers. They work great. Yeah, I've been wondering about those. I'd like to do a couple of those because I have a ton of those cables. And then Garth says, I think Voxel is a Canadian company. And isn't Voxel, is that the correct, a voxel is basically a pixel in 3D or whatever? Is that what that is? Right, so 1, 3D pixel or whatever, is that what a voxel is? I think that's what it is. And then Eduardo, I just sent a picture of the Bambu Lab noise cancellation they posted for September 20th unveiling. Awesome. We'll see what they unveil. Hopefully it's more than just that. That'd be the lowest on the list for me. I want to see a new printer and the new color change looks a lot more interesting than that. I mean, most of the stuff that you're going to have in your maker space is going to have some noise to it. I mean, if you could eliminate some of it, I guess it would be cool. But for the most part, that stuff is going to have some noise, and that's why I have it in a different room. But yeah, noise cancellation would be good, but I would much rather see more efficient color change. I'm much more interested in that. Lester volume pixel. Yep. Madman Production, so each roll must have a unique ID. If I can track how much of each roll is used. Was just curious if you've hit any issues where the Bambu says it's out of material, but it's actually not out. No, I have not run into that. And I will say, Madman, the really good thing, like say a standard filament like this red, and this has happened to me several times because I print a lot of this stuff. I really like the red color. It prints really, really good. What happens, well, there's a couple of different things that can happen. So the way it stands right now, it will just pause the print and it'll tell you, hey, you need to add more filament. You add a roll of filament back into this slot and it will continue the print as if nothing happened, which is pretty cool. And it does a really good job of that. And I have run out of material several times. And as a matter of fact, like if I see that there's not enough, and again, you can't, wasn't able to do this on other printers, but if I know there's not enough on a roll, I'll go ahead and print because I know that it's going to run out that entire roll and then I can just put a new roll on there so I'm not wasting any filament. The other thing that you can do if it's a really long print is you can click on this AMS filament backup. So you could have one roll in slot 1 right here, right? Say it was black or whatever, and then you had another roll of black there. So this was like a really short roll. You could put another roll of black right there and click this filament backup. And then once this roll is done, it will switch to the next roll in the AMS and start printing from there. So Madman, that's been my experience with it in the two different ways that you can handle it. So not selecting anything right now, it will just pause and it is out. Like it's an empty roll. It sucks it all the way out. Trust in that. It sucks all of that filament out of the roll, which I love that. And then you just add a new roll in there, or like I said, you can just hit this filament back up and do it that way. And then Justin says voxel is a single point in 3D, yep, or like a pixel, or a volume pixel, as Lester said. And apparently a really good filament manufacturer from Canada. And then Madman Productions, like how regular printers say they're out of ink when they're not. Exactly. Yeah, I haven't run into any of that. No, it pulls all the filament through. And then, like I said, there's two ways to handle it there. And then Justin sometimes referred to as a vertex or vertex. I did not know that. That's awesome. Madman, that's good to know. Thank you. And then Bob Mitchell, what's your take on the quality of the Bambu filament? I'm hooked on Bambu's specific default settings. I've had really good success with the Bambu filament. I don't know that it's like leaps and bounds better or worse than anything else. There's definitely cheaper stuff out there that seems to have the same type of quality. The RFID and the presets and all of that is a really nice thing to have. Is it worth the extra money? Yeah, I don't know. They also have some pretty cool different types of filaments, and I know that you can go to several different places and maybe get all of the same different types of filaments, but to have all of them in the same place that are meant for your printer, kind of a good thing. So I've been pretty satisfied with them, but I will say they're not the only filament that I use or that I have in my machine right now. These two right here are Sunlu, and I use a lot of eSun filament as well. So big fans of Sunlu and big fans of eSun filament as well, but I'm also a fan of Bambu, Bob, and I'm not sponsored by any. Sunlu sent me some free filament, but I'm not sponsored by them. And then Lester, Bambu PAHT is great. Yes, it is. And then Robert says, thanks, you're welcome. And then looks like the print is done. Let me go hold it up in front of the camera. Hopefully you guys could see that. It was really cool. It looks really cool, and you can kind of sort of move the hand in there. It turned out really good. Print that one. The link's in the description. Be sure to print that one. And if you thought that print was cool, go ahead and smash that like button as well. Then Madman Productions, I see a lot of arguments against Bambu for using proprietary parts instead of standard. Has that been an issue in your experience? So that's a good question. And again, I think that's people micro-focusing on the wrong stuff. So really what they're talking about is, oh, I can't buy a nozzle and I can't just replace this bottom nozzle, and they use this whole proprietary thing. These nozzles work really well for a really long time, and they're like $15. If they didn't last as long as they did, and I had to spend $15 like as often as and this is probably where the argument is coming from, Madman. If I had to change the nozzle as often as I did in my Creality to get a decent print, I would be irate at how many nozzles I had to spend $15 on. But it lasts a really, really long time, and it does it, you know, at a high quality and prints a lot of different things on there. And like I said, the price of the nozzle is not crazy. Now, if you are just comparing it to, you know, just a little thing that you can spin off and put back on a Creality, then yeah, it's way more expensive than that. But you do not have to change this as often as I had to change the ones on the Creality. And this is this whole apparatus that you're buying right here. It's not just this nozzle. So it's everything in between there. So I think there is a little bit of a difference there. There is a proprietary part, like this one is a proprietary part right here, and it is a consumable part, which is the nozzle, right? And I do see the argument against that. Some people have pointed out that there's some AliExpress ones out there that are maybe half the price of this, or maybe a third of the price. But I believe that's what they're referring to. In my experience, I do not have to mess with this nozzle near as much as I did with my Creality. And if I did, boy, would I be mad. But I'm not. So it hasn't been a big issue. It hasn't been a big issue for me. I hope that helps and answers your question, Madman. And then Lester, that was a typo. I tried generic carbon fiber PLA and PETG carbon fiber, and they jammed my nozzle. Yeah, so in the Filament wiki, it is recommended for most of the carbon fiber stuff to run the 0.6 nozzle, and I had the same thing happen to me as well. And then you can see on PACF, PAHTCF, and PET and PETGCF or whatever, highly recommended the 0.6 nozzle. And I highly recommend the 0.6 nozzle for any carbon fiber printing that you're doing. Even if it does, I've had it ruin a nozzle, like you said, Lester, and I've had it semi-clog a nozzle to where the rest of my prints after it weren't all that great. So I would highly recommend 0.6 nozzle on your carbon fiber prints. You can't get as fine a detail, or if you're just going to burn a $15 nozzle, go on there. But I would not recommend the 0.4 for the carbon fiber stuff. And then Robert says, I posted the cable rolls on Thingiverse. You can choose the appropriate size for the cable and diameter. Oh, awesome. Oh, maybe I'll print one of those next week for the stream and highlight your page on Thingiverse, Robert. And then Garth's still loving the Bambu plate. That's the one that's on there right now. That's how you'll know, Garth. You'll know what plate I like by the one that is in my printer. Generally on these Saturdays when, you know, I'm just trying to chill out and just print something, right? And so I'm going to use the easy thing, and definitely that gold plate works good. And then Justin says, I got a set of parts with my printer bundle and they seem to have tons of replacement parts on the site. Yeah, they have the replacement bundles and everything. And I did an accessory video, and maybe I should do an updated one as well. Although I don't know how much stuff I would recommend differently. But I did an accessory video where if anybody's interested in that's listening, I did one where I go over all of the different parts that I would have on hand. And we can kind of go over that now. Definitely I would have a 0.2 nozzle, a 0.6 nozzle for your carbon fiber, the 0.2 for doing some lithophane, and I would have a couple of these 0.4 nozzles hanging around. I haven't used a 0.8 yet. I do have one of those, but I haven't come across a need to use a 0.8 as of yet. Not to say that I won't at some point. Some of the other things that I would recommend is I would go ahead and buy this whole hot end assembly, because this comes with the fan, the thermistor, everything like that. So you can have a nozzle ready to go. If one of your nozzles goes bad, you can just put this one in without having to take the other one all the way apart and put it back in there. A couple of these cutters would be good to have. The carbon fiber, the thermistors, and the ceramic heaters are all things that I would highly recommend that you have on hand at all times. And then Lester says, my Creality had the blob of death and was never the same. It's collecting dust. My Creality, that thing. I could never get it to stay, the Z-axis would never stay straight, and it would never print anything worth a crap. Voxel for San Diego comes out of LA. Yes. Okay, so your Voxel's coming out of LA. All right, 3D Pixel. Then Madman Productions, very helpful. You're welcome. Yeah, I would not buy. Bob says wanting to buy a second Bambu, but I have to wait for 920. Yeah, I would not buy one right now. I would wait to see what they announce on the 20th. Lester says clearing it was a breeze, so I reinstalled it. Just a hassle. Yep. And then Colorado Adventure Club, interesting. I went back to the OG setup, ditched the Hydra. Interesting. I haven't done the Hydra, and I've been kind of wanting to do that as a video. Please do tell more. And then Robert says, is there any way to tell it to continue with a different filament? And I did show that right here. It's this little gear, and then AMS filament backup. And whenever you select that, it will do the next one in the slot. So if you're printing from slot 1, you can click this, Robert, and put the backup filament in slot 2, and it'll go from 1 to 2. It goes sequentially. And so you can do that. You could do it all the way across if you had a print that was that big. And then Lester says, thanks for these pointers. You are welcome. And if anybody else has pointers, please put those in the chat. And then in Colorado Adventure Club, I usually tell it that the other guy is the same color and type, and it will print it. And then Robert O'Neill, for the filament backup, make sure your filament end is not hooked on the end of the spool. That is correct. It does have a little safety thing in there. I have found I've got to the end of eSun and Bambu, and they don't have the hook on the end. I have not got to the end of any of the other filaments just yet. And then Justin says Hydra voids the AMS warranty. Interesting. Colorado Adventure Club, you want it, you can try it. I'll bring it over. That's interesting. You might need to do that. We might have to do a collab video on your experience with that. Actually, let's maybe do that, Colorado Adventure Club. I think people would like to know, because there's a lot of hype around that Hydra. Be going a little bit against the grain, saying it's not as great as everybody has made it out to be. And then Lester, clearing the Bambu nozzle was a breeze, not the Creality, just to clarify. Yeah, that's why, you know, the Creality, Ender, whatever, those ones, yeah, they have those cheap nozzles, but they're cheap. And you can't clear them out, so you have to change them so often. And that's what I was saying too, Lester, is if I had to change them out as often as I did on that crappy Creality, I'd be super duper mad. But like you said, clearing it out is really easy. They last a long time. I burnt a couple up, but it was, you know, doing some not common thing. Oh, it does not go, Mark says it doesn't go sequentially. It will pick the next filament with the same properties. Okay, so that makes sense. So if you had black PLA in slot 1 and black PLA in slot 4, it will go to slot 4 when slot 1 runs out. Thank you for that clarification, Mark. I appreciate that. That's good to know. All right, and we've run up at the end of the hour today. Great stream once again. I hope everybody enjoyed it. If you found anything interesting, please hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. We'll have some really cool videos coming up. I've reached out to some different people, some different companies to help with sponsoring some upcoming videos, so make sure that you subscribe. I got some really cool ones coming up in the near future. And then Lester, from what I understand, if an AMS slot is empty, it will not show up when you sync, and that is correct. And with that, I'll let everybody go. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Good night, Garth. Thank you, everybody, for hitting the like button, and thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll see y'all tomorrow for the video, and see you next week for the stream. Thank you, everybody.